If I was starting FPV in 2026, these are the items that I would start with. My name's Gaz, this is Squadding Quads, and for anybody brand new to the channel, welcome. We are currently one of the fastest growing FPV channels out there, partly because we don't take ourselves seriously whilst giving you all the answers you need to get you in the air safely and competently. Now, the mask. Sure, you might come into this channel as a brand new viewer and think, what on earth is this guy doing? It's a brand identity. We did it to start off the channel back in the early days to give us something different than everybody else had. And I've toyed with the idea many times of dropping the mask and the personas and everything that goes with it. But the sponsors and you guys don't want me to, so it stays. Whilst we have a laugh and we have fun, what we're really about is helping you guys, answering your guys' questions and providing tutorial and help for you guys in order to get you to the next step on your FPV journey. Today it's going to be about brand new viewers and brand new pilots to the hobby and what to buy. Tomorrow it might be something a little bit more complex for more intermediate or even expert pilots. And that's the great thing. This channel is everything to everybody. And not only that, unlike a lot of channels, be it FPV or whatever, I reply to every single comment you guys leave. So if you ever need any help, you know exactly where to come. Right, let's get this video started. When starting off in FPV, you're going to need three main components. You're going to need a set of goggles, you're going to need a controller, and you're going to need a drone. Now, when I first came back into FPV in 2020, I made the mistake of going straight into digital. And if I'm honest, that was a mistake, and that did stunt my growth because I was a bit too scared to crash because it was so expensive. Yes, there is a higher latency in digital. Yes, you can get used to it, don't get me wrong. However, if I was starting off today, this is what I'd start with. So let's have a look at the drones first of all. Now, this is the BETAFPV Air75 and 65 Mark II. And I would suggest that you start with one of these. And you're going to instantly say, most people will anyway, because I certainly did, ooh, that's analog. The quality of the camera is rubbish. I can't post that anywhere. First of all, if you're just posting to social media, I can absolutely assure you that the majority of FPV pilots love seeing analog video. They really do. Not only that, these things are so cheap. These things are cheaper than the top of the range DJI O4 Pro camera and transmission system that we have in a lot of the drones on the channel. This can cost you as little as sort of 70, 80 bucks. This is about 90 bucks, 70 quid. If you shop at Hobby RC, if you're in the UK, 77 quid for one of these. And these are absolutely brilliant. The Mark II versions fly like much bigger drones and much more capable drones whilst costing nothing. And ultimately, if you was to crash it, like they just flex, they just bend. Sure, you can break it. I'm not saying that you can't. But if you do, if the worst comes to the worst, you're spending a lot less money on one of these than you would do on a 200 quid camera on a 600 quid drone, as an example. So I would recommend you start with one of these two, the Air75 Mark II or the Air75 Mark II. Now, there's three different variations of that drone. There's the freestyle, there's the racing, and there's the champion edition. The racing edition comes in purple and the champion edition comes in black. And you might wonder what the difference is. And it's speed. It literally is speed and endurance. Because the freestyle versions, which are the blue versions, are slightly slower, but they have much better crash resistance than this. This is a thinner frame, it's lighter, and it's got way faster motors. The other flip side you may need to consider as a newbie is you may not be able to solder. And if you can't solder, as you can see, those are tiny solder pads. If you get a freestyle or a racing edition, your motors are unplugged. So if you bust a motor, all you need to do is pull out a plug, pull out a screw and replace them. In my opinion, the best one of these to go for is the racing edition, because even if it's too fast for you, you can add what's called a throttle limit in a program called BetaFly. BetaFly is the software that's used on these, and we've got plenty of videos on the channel of how to do it. You can grow into this, you can grow out of this, and that's the difference. This has faster motors, essentially the same frame. Faster motors, you can slow them down where you can start and get used to it, and you can increase them and you can grow into it. This, slower motors, once you're at full speed, there's nowhere else for you to go. So that's what I'd recommend. And this is an Air65 Wisp, which is a glow-in-the-dark version of the Air65. There's loads of different versions, but the Mark II is the best. Now, the next question you're going to ask is, well, which one do I want? Do I want the 65 or do I want the 75? And the truth be told is it depends. Do you live in somewhere like North America and you've got a massive house and loads of room in your house to fly a drone? In which case, a 75 will do you, because this will also fly outside without too much of a problem. Do you live in the UK or Europe, where our houses are much, much smaller and tighter? In which case, you're probably going to want an Air75. Now, this will still fly outdoors, and I've got plenty of videos on the channel of it flying outdoors. Check in our shorts feed and just type in Air65 and you'll see absolutely fine outside. Once it gets windy, especially in the UK or Northern Europe, it could become a bit of a problem though. So if you intend to fly more outdoors than indoors, the 75. If you intend to fly more indoors and you've got a smaller house, the 65. But you can still fly outdoors with it. So you've got your first drone. You're going to need a way of seeing your FPV feed. Now, like I said before, these are analog. The quality of analog is not brilliant, but it has got one massive advantage over most digital systems, and that is something called latency. And that is how quickly the picture updates in front of your eyes when you're wearing those goggles. Analog, if you choose the right goggles, is instantaneous. If you choose the wrong goggles, you'll end up with something that's a bit like digital from a latency point of view, but from a quality point of view, not even close. And that is where these come in. These are 70 quid, $70. And these are the BETAFPV VR4 analog goggles. There is also a digital version of these goggles as well. So when you're looking at them, look for the standard version, not the HD version. I will have links to everything in the description down below to make it as easy as possible. Just so you know, there will be affiliate links. Those links won't cost you a penny extra. But if this video has been useful to you and you are considering picking up something that we've shown on here, please do consider using those links because it will help the channel. Nels has done some real good testing with these goggles, and he has essentially proven that these are some of the best analog goggles you can buy. And not only that, they're about 70 quid, $70, 70 euros, whatever the conversion rate is on this particular day. Whenever you watch this video, conversion rates go up and down, so giving prices is always difficult. But that's really, really cheap for a set of goggles. As a direct comparison, and it's hard for anybody to argue with this, but these are the DJI Goggles 3. These are the creme de la creme of FPV goggles. They also cost 600 quid. And you might be thinking, well, if those goggles are so good, why don't I just get a pair of those goggles and use them on this? And then as I grow in my FPV journey, upgrade the drone to something different. That's where it becomes a bit difficult because FPV is quite fragmented. So you have different video systems in FPV. You have analog, then you have digital, and then within digital, you have walk snail, HD0, and DJI. There is a couple of others sort of coming on board from the more budget end, such as the P1 from BETAFPV, all based around the ArtLink system and the Artisan chip. Really too much information for you newbies at this moment in time. But the point being is you've got to buy the right goggles. Now, sadly, those DJI goggles that I showed you before, yes, they are the creme de la creme. They've got OLED screens. They're absolutely stunning. However, they don't support analog. So it does mean potentially you are going to be buying twice. Unless you decide, actually, I want to come into this and I want to end up at HD0. In which case, you could get the HD0 Box Pro or the HD0 Goggles 1 or 2 and have support direct and native for HD0 analog in those goggles. You can also get something called a VRX, which is a video receiver. And what that does is that will allow you to pick up other systems that provide a VRX. So Cadex Walk Snail, as an example, is one of them. And the new P1 Artisan systems as well also provide VRXs now. Again, the problem with the DJI is they're really closed in, which means that will not support any other system, even if you've got a VRX, because there's no physical way of plugging it in. You need a HDMI in on your goggles. That one doesn't have them. So you are faced with a bit of a dilemma, but like I say, try and, in my opinion, I'm trying to help you learn from my mistakes, and going digital too early, I think, was a mistake. For 70 quid, you've got yourself a really strong pair of low latency analog goggles. They've also got a DVR in them as well. DVR is a digital video recorder. That basically means you can record your flights. There are some cheaper analog goggles from other manufacturers that are about the same price, but they don't have a DVR in them. So you've got yourself some goggles. You've got yourself a drone. Now you're going to need a way of powering and charging that drone. Now, these drones are often referred to as Tiny Whoops, although Tiny Whoop actually is a company in itself. generally speaking, if we're talking about one of these, we're talking about tiny whoops. Now, the best tiny whoop batteries available right now are the BETAFPV Lava 2s. But you need to decide which drone you buy in as to decide which battery you want, because there are different sizes. As a general rule, if you're buying the 65, you're going to want to buy 230 to 280 mAh Lava 2 1S batteries. If you're buying the 75, you're going to want to buy 580 or 680 1S Lava 2 batteries. Then you're going to need a way to charge them. Well, this is the BETAFPV Hexacharger Pro, the Hexacharger Pro. And the reason I'm recommending this, I have got other 1S chargers, some that you would consider to be better from a spec point of view. However, the great thing with this, as you can see, we've got a battery bank. We can then power it and charge it from our battery bank. So you can charge it in your car. I often do. On the morning commute, I'll charge up batteries on the way in. They're ready for when I get there. I can have a quick fly, and the same on the way back in the afternoon. And just to show you, it's got enough power to charge them without any problems. And although these are different size batteries, they are both supported in this because it is a 1S charger, and these are both 1S batteries. A really great charger. There are others available, such as the V-Fly charger, the Whoopster, and the Flywoo 1S charger. The Flywoo 1S charger will be powered from this. The Whoopster, although is a much nicer charger, slightly more expensive, and you need at least 100 watts to charge it. So a lot of the time, even some of these power banks that say they're 100 watt won't charge or won't power those V-Fly chargers. Just another thing for you to bear in mind. So you've got yourself a drone, you've got yourself a pair of goggles, you've got yourself a charger, and you've got yourself some batteries. You now need a controller. And this is where I'm going to go against most conventional wisdoms. Because most conventional wisdoms will say to you, buy the Radiomaster Pocket because it's the cheapest thing to get you in the air. And I respect that if you're on a budget. If you are on a budget and money's extremely, extremely tight, you might want to go for this. There's nothing wrong with it. However, it is the cheapest for a reason. So when we talk about our control links, these tiny whoops have something called ELRS, or Express Long Range System, in them, which is a low latency and also long range receiver. And that's the receiver that you control the drone with. This has a 250 milliwatt ELRS transmitter built into it. Now, for the majority of people, especially with tiny whoops, 250 milliwatt, it's going to be absolutely fine. However, if you move up to a more premium offering, this particular one will offer you 1 watt, so 1000 milliwatts on both 2.4 gigahertz and 900 hertz. Now that's something as a newbie you're not really going to care about. As you become more experienced and want to buy more drones, because I promise you will, once you're in, there is no way out, you are going to want something that's a little bit more, that can give you a little bit more, that you can turn up the latency, the refresh rate on, or you can increase the power on, and you're going to bump against the limits of this very, very quickly. The other issue is, obviously, this has a black and white LCD screen and plastic gimbals. The gimbals are the sticks that we control them with. This has metal gimbals, some of the nicest ones I've ever used, and it has a colour screen. Now, that might not be important to you. You might be okay with an LCD screen. But where it gets a little bit complicated, and where my recommendations change a little bit, especially for newer pilots, is setting something up on this screen can be a little bit of a pain. Also, there's things called widgets, which will display information about your drone, the power of it, the battery, and this, that, and the other. And again, you might think, well, I'm wearing goggles, I don't need to see all that. But it's good as a pre-flight check to make sure that everything's okay before you put them goggles down. Just a reassuring last final pre-flight check. And this is the controller that ultimately I think a lot of people need to look at. I'm not discounting this. If you're on a budget and budget is important to you, this is going to be the one for you. But these are the two that I personally use on a daily basis and recommend. Now, you'll see straight away there's a massive difference in them because of the size of them. Okay, so the difference with this, obviously, it's a little bit more blingy. It's a bit nicer when it comes to the extras that it's got with it. But it's also got a touch screen. So you can touch the screen, as the name would suggest, and adjust all your settings, your models, your inputs, and all that directly on the screen. As a new pilot trying to figure things out and trying to work things out, a touchscreen might be advantageous to you. As I say, this has a colour screen as well, but it isn't touch. What you have here is a 5D button. So once you press one of, I'm trying to do it backwards. Once you press one of these buttons, you can then move across your menus and down your menus with this, and then you can push in and away you go. So it's relatively easy. This is a little bit more difficult, a little bit more convoluted, but it can be done, don't get me wrong. But the reason I advocate for spending a little bit more in the early days on the controller over anything else is twofold. This is the only direct physical link you have between you and the drone. So when you move these sticks, the drone will move. And you want it to be nice. You want it to feel nice in the hand. And you want the feeling to be nice. You want everything to be within reach and to be comfortable. You're also likely to be using a simulator as well, and you can use these in the simulator. You can use this in the simulator as well, don't get me wrong, but you can use all of them in the simulator as well. So it comes down to picking what is important. Is something that's small and a little bit more compact important, or do you want something a bit bigger, a bit more blingy if you've got bigger hands and you prefer sort of the reassuring feel of this and the extra buttons and switches that this brings? If you're on an extremely tight budget, I respect that. We've all been there. It happens to us all. Then ultimately, I would recommend this. But if you can, just go with something a little bit more. And that's it. That is the learn from my mistakes video. And ultimately, there is always new pilots coming in to FPV. We have got the new, cheaper digital FPV systems coming in all the time as well. So that's also going to be an option for you guys. But I genuinely believe if I was starting FPV in 2026, these are the items that I would be picking. Try and go a little bit more premium on your controller rather than the cheapest. There is always ways to upgrade this. So you can buy metal gimbals, but you've got to take the whole thing apart. And there is a JR bay on the back, so you can add what's called an external module, like this, and that external module will give you potentially dual band and potentially up to 2 watts depending which one you buy. But obviously just keep in mind some countries have limits on how much power you can use. I hope you found this video useful. I hope you are feeling welcome and relaxed on the channel now, despite the look. We're here to have fun at the end of the day. Life is life. People take life too seriously. Somebody said something to me once and it really resonated with me. You're not going to get out alive, so enjoy the time while you're here. If you've got any questions whatsoever, leave them in the comments box down below. I reply to every single comment. Like the video, hype the video, share the video, send the video to your mother's, aunts, cousins, brothers, carer. And until next time, you've all been absolutely amazing. Peace. YouTube and I have had a chat, and we believe that this is the video that you'll like the most. So watch it and let me know if they're right.